Running back. I love the mid-range again. Actually, I just love running back this week. Alvin Kamara, I'll go right back to the well. How do you not? The only thing it would be how chalky is he? But this Eagles run defense is in real trouble.
It was last night.
It was against Green Bay too. They're in trouble. And I love Devon Achane. First of all, we don't even know if Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson play. So my guess is Jalen Wright, in the event that they didn't, would get a decent amount of work. But we saw last week, playing from behind, they kept Achane. Mike McDaniel kept Achane out there. He had a huge game. Even with Skylar Thompson in there, it didn't matter. 22 for 96 on the ground, 22 carries, getting slaughtered. 7 receptions, 69 yards. The guy was a legitimate game time decision coming into this one. Kamara and Achane up top. Maybe this is the easiest way for me to put it, Ben. They look so good to me, and maybe I'll change my mind throughout the week. That happens, and I'm willing to go back to the drawing board if something comes up. They look so good to me in that range that I just don't even have interest in the other guys above 7K.
Totally get it. Yeah, I mean, the Achane thing was ridiculous. It was a Thursday game, first of all.
Yeah.
So now he gets extra time, and he had 30 touches. All of that's good. I wouldn't fault anyone for doing that. I was high on Kamara last week. Not going to stop now. I'm going to make a case for my top tier. I'm going to go with my man, Jonathan Taylor. I know that's a little against the grain. He's come down in price. You get a $400 discount. He was awesome last week. It just volume-wise wasn't the game. 12 carries for 103 yards, 8.6 yards per carry, had 4 targets. Like to see that as well. I think in a game at home against the Bears, Jonathan Taylor's volume is going to come in a lot bigger opportunity. I like this spot for him. 7,300. It's a pivot off Kamara. It's a pivot off Achane. I call for Jonathan Taylor to have, I'm going like multiple touchdown game for him this week.
I'm glad you mentioned it because I get it 100%, but I'm also just really, I'm not concerned. That would be the wrong. I'm not concerned about Jonathan Taylor, but I don't know how I get off of a guy like Achane if Mostert and Wilson are out.
It's going to be an ownership slant. Now, if you're telling me they're all about the same, everything I just said is thrown out the window. But I don't think that's going to be the case.
Why did Taylor play 52% of snaps on Sunday after 96% of snaps in week 1?
I have no answers. But what I do know is that he was wildly effective and they were wildly ineffective. You have to win this game. It's week 3. You have to win this game at home against the Bears. He's touching the ball. He's touching the ball 20 plus times.
I see what you're saying. You're saying this is just a spot where if you are not feeding Jonathan Taylor, you're a moron.
It's the Goblin segment next week. If Jonathan Taylor doesn't touch the ball 20 times in this game,
Shane Steichen,
it's going to be long. It's going to be real long.
He may actually become the leader in the clubhouse for Goblin of the Week presented by next year. Because this is presented by Brandon Staley. Last year it was Nathaniel Hackett. We have some good candidates.
We're only 2 weeks in, and so far I think it's pretty fair to say there hasn't been an egregious Goblin. There's been, a couple stupid things here and there.
No one's right.
Done anything where you're like, you're a moron.
You're right.
And not give Jonathan Taylor a lot of work would be crazy in this spot. Who knows how it works, but if Jonathan Taylor has 20 to 25 touches in this game, I will live with the result.
Yeah. Okay. Still, right now for me, like I said, it's early in the week. First look, that is the show. Kamara and Achane. For you, Taylor's your guy. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Kamara here.
I love Allen for what you can't go wrong.
Yeah. This offense looks really good. You can't go to Kyron Williams right now. That offensive line is could they improve it, get some guys back? Absolutely. But against San Francisco, the only argument you'd have is like, oh, he's used more in the passing game. I don't really think it matters, Ben. It's just at that price point. Kyron Williams in this offense, in this matchup, should be 6K in a spot like this.
Yeah, I'm not super interested in him. Working down, you know, there's just other guys. You've got Connor at home.
I'm not touching Connor either.
I see. I'll have more interest than you there. If he's going to continue to touch the ball 20 plus times,
I hear you. I think he's going to have to do everything in the passing game now.
he
I
might.
think I just have so much respect for this Detroit run defense that
Yeah.
he's going to have to do it through the air.
Rashad White got that treatment last week.
I bet under 45.5 rushing yards on White.
The
Which is
range
just
to
funny. It's such a low number. White's not good.
wow,
He's not.
my guy, big fan of him.
He was a good fantasy contributor, but Rashad White's not good. He's good for fantasy. Decent pass catcher. Bucky Irvin's probably going to be getting the
I mean, Bucky
majority of-
Irvin's a player. I'm a big Bucky Irvin guy.
I like Bucky Irvin too. Yeah. Bucky Irvin this week, by the way. Rashad White might not play.
That would be interesting. Tony Pollard, Charbonnet, Aaron Jones. I'm gonna have to live in that 6K range, I think. I'll tell you what, I don't think Jordan Mason, he's not gonna be crazy owned like he was, but if he is, I will probably come in underweight.
I don't think I will. You
Then
will
over?
because you don't like that he's not involved in the passing game, I bet. And I respect where you're coming from.
Last week was a perfect example. He landed on 100 yards exactly, and he scored, and he got 20. He was so close to giving you like 11.
Oh, if he had 96 and no touchdown, yeah, you're looking at 9. You're talking decimal back.
Decimal back. He is.
But
Dangerous
he's
game
played
with him.
80+% of snaps in back-to-back games. McCaffrey's on the IR. Debo Samuel is out with likely a multi-week injury. And you're facing a Rams team that just got gashed on the ground by James Conner, right? James Conner just ran for 122 yards against them on 21 attempts, averaged almost 6 yards per carry. And then in week 1, David Montgomery carved them up 5.4 yards per attempt. Dude, I'm telling you, this run defense for the Rams is bad.
Oh, it's bad. And listen, that's why I'm not saying you can't play Jordan Mason. I will have some exposure. I'm saying if he's crazy popular, there are still ways that he doesn't get there. Now, if he falls in the end zone twice, he's going to be very, very important. But there are other names. We have to see with the injuries too. Chap brought up if Mixon sits, that would change the equation. I think
he does sit.
I don't.
No?
No, I don't know. It was a weird situation because he came back and took a carry, and then they were just like, we don't need to do this.
He played 7 snaps after he returned.
I needed him, obviously. So
you want to know? I want you to take a guess of one guy we haven't mentioned in the 6K range that you think I would like here. I already said it's not Derrick Henry.
Josh Jacobs.
No.
He had 32 carries last week. I mean, that's insane. I don't know.
Nuts. How do you have 32 carries for 151 and not crack 20 fantasy points?
Yeah, he's in the same bucket. I mean, are you going to go to Dobbins with the price increase?
Not against Pittsburgh. Nope.
Okay. To me, that's.
Oh, and by the way, we talked to everyone's like, hey, what are you talking about? Dobbins clearly the number 1 guy now. He still had fewer carries than Gus Edwards.
He still got there because he's
awesome. I love J.K. Dobbins.
But
I'm saying it's still a split backfield.
I mean, I haven't played Dobbins at all.
Me neither.
Gibbs?
I wish I did. Do you want me to just tell you?
If St. Brown sits, is that where you're going with?
Well, I already like David Montgomery regardless.
Oh, okay.
If St. Brown sits, I will probably have egregious amounts of Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, that's more my speed.
But I like David Montgomery.
He's a great anytime touchdown bet every week.
You should. It's just, look, there's certain spots that align well for David Montgomery. Last week actually did. It's just the game script didn't play in our favor, right? Like if you're 7-point favorite, David Montgomery should be a guy you're willing to consider. I think Detroit comes out and puts a lot of points up this week after that disappointment at home against the divisional rival in Tampa last week.
I get it. I'm not going to push back on that. For me, in the same spot, I'm going to go to Tony Pollard. I've been just like, I can't seem to wrangle the right week.
I like Pollard.
he's doing enough, and he's getting the carries, and he can catch the ball, and he's explosive, and he's at home, and he's 6K. All this is good enough for me.
You're burying the lead. Tajay Spears could miss this game.
That would solidify it. That is a good point.
Yeah,
I kind
that
of
would
don't.
be. What's
I
that?
don't think he's. I kind of buried that lead just because I have a feeling that he's gonna play.
You think
I
so?
don't think it matters, honestly. I almost in some ways hope that he plays.
All right. Give me Jordan. I like Montgomery, but Gibbs is my guy. Gibbs is my guy right now, up top or in the mid range.
Are there pay down options that we have to get to here?
Oh yeah, yeah. So someone was saying lock in Alexander Madison. I think this is the Zamir White game.
Wait, what do you mean lock in Alexander? Yeah, don't do that.
Don't. Someone said it in chat.
Yeah, please don't do that.
I think this is the Zamir White game. If he gets slept on, I'm going to have quite a bit of Zamir White.
I mean, Bucky Irving is the choice if White sits. The other different White, of course.
Sure. Yes, of course. There's no doubt about it. And if Mixon and Pierce miss again, Cam Akers is 4,700. But Zamir, okay, so Zamir White, this is going to gross people out because he's just been like not what was anticipated coming into the year. Ben, he played 63% of snaps against the Ravens, and they just didn't run the ball a lot at all. I know Madison had the touchdown, but what did he have? 4 carries for 1 yard or something like that? Not really relevant at all. Zamir White got the lion's share of snaps. He ran 23 routes and was on the field for most of the game. 4 targets. He's cheap. I think he goes overlooked because who wants to play a guy that hasn't done anything through the first 2 weeks? Carolina's run defense is atrocious.
Hard to argue with any of this. And I have like basically no value on the board unless injuries open up. I really don't.
Okay, so if that's the case, what about Najee Harris?
No.
No, you won't do it?
It's just the thing that kills me about that is you have not only a team that's content doing that, they're playing a team content to do nothing either. And so like I just really worry about the pace of that game. Najee's got all the volume and he's done nothing with it.
It's true.
I'd rather play Chuba if I had to.
Not me.
No, I'm not trying to do that. There's nothing down here for me.
Zamir White for me.
I'm gonna copy you. I'm gonna go with Zamir White as well by default.
Okay. It's not all that crazy though if you think that like Dalton's better than Bryce Young for sure, but I don't expect this team to be electric.
It can't go worse though. There's
Correct.
Nothing. The Chuba Hubbard situation is just awful. And it can only get better though.
This is true.